Hello everybody, this is bballin coming at you with a Dota commentary. This isn't a pro Dota commentary as the intro might have indicated, but it is in fact a pub game between pro players. So, I hope you enjoyed that intro. I made it all by myself. I am a big boy now, and now I am ready to do big boy things. Yes, I made that intro. It's very mediocre. I'm not ashamed to admit that, but it is my first ever time making a sort of movie thing. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and hopefully I can improve for my next one. Also, the link to the song is in the description below, so if you want to check out that song, feel free. It's made by one of my good friends, and yeah, he wants to have people listen to his stuff, and hopefully he can get some more listens. Yes, listens. That is totally a plural noun that I can use. Anyway, so this game is from the MYM CPL League. A lot of top-notch European players play in this league, and yeah, it should be pretty fun. So I picked this game because it has a lot of pro players and pro players who have previously retired from competitive Dota, and so I like picking sort of more entertaining games because Dota is still a game. It's not like StarCraft 2 in Europe in the essence where you can make it a livelihood. It's still a game that people play for fun and enjoyment, and they can make money off of it, but it's nowhere near enough to sustain themselves into the real world. So I like seeing people have fun with Dota because it is still a game at its heart, unless you're in China where you can make enough to get by and treat it as a sort of an occupation. But enough of that. So as you can see on the Sentinel, we have Nabi555, who's Dendi, against Choke on the Cock, who is Maelk. This must be Maelk's published account, or maybe it's his anti-DDoS hacking account. But Choke on the Cock, he is immediately letting Dendi know what his feelings are right off the bat. Just, he loves Dendi so much that he said Choke on the Cock for, yeah. I don't really know where I was going with that, but anyways. So, yeah, that should be pretty fun. So, Dendi banned the Shadow Demon, the Nerubian Assassin, and the Syllabear. This is version 6.72b. Pitlord hasn't been introduced into the ban pool yet, but he has been remade. And Broodmother hasn't had all her massive changes made yet. And so, these are pretty stock bans in the competitive scene in Europe around that time, I think. Nerubian Assassin has been sort of fading out of band play and even pick play in 6.72c era, which is right now. I think it might be because people are not really sure how to utilize him best in a laning situation. If you use him as a melee solo laner, he gets outlaned very easily by a bunch of other solos. And with the introduction of Smoke and Deceit and the prevalence of Sentry Wards, Nerubian Assassin's ganks won't be as effective as they might have been in like the 6.5-ish era. So, but he does have Earnest Swarm, which is an extremely underrated skill. AoE silence that does damage over time is pretty beastly, and he can gank from anywhere. So, it's a little. I think he's a very fun hero to watch because he doesn't scale well into the late game at all. So he either ends games fast for his team, or he fails and his team gets completely owned. So it leads to quick and exciting, usually very intense games. So, Nerubian Assassin being banned, I'm a little sad about. Shadow Demon, I just played him a little while ago. I don't like to use the new heroes just as they come out, so I played him for the first time ever last week. Shadow Demon, such an annoying hero, a laning monster, causes so much chaos in the teamfights, and with his ultimate and his Shadow Poison is just fucking annoying to play against. And Syllabear, yeah, very tanky, very strong pusher, very strong summon in his bear. Meanwhile, Maelk banned Invoker, Spectre, Weaver. I don't really think I need to talk about it, but it's a little curious seeing Spectre in the first 3 bans. Maybe Maelk just feels like, hey, this is a pub game, I don't want to be boring and play against the Spectre or with the Spectre. So, Maelk had first pick, he picked up the AA. Annoying, beastly, fucking dumb hero. Cold Feet, Ice Blast, by themselves can make. It's basically just an insane skill combination. In fact, with the AoE magic reduction skill that gives you vision, just is icing on the cake. And his Chilling Touch is pretty underrated. It provides a lot of plus damage in team fights. And Looks like Dendi responded with Enigma Shaker. First pick Enigma is a little bit uncommon, but I guess maybe somebody on their team really wanted to play Enigma. So yeah, he'll probably be in the jungle role. I'm just gonna guess, but he also picked up two components of his tri-lane in the Earth Shaker and the Vengeful Spirit. So yeah, a lot of stun heavy. First 3 picks all consist of stun, so very strong ganking, very strong team fight presence, and also pretty good at anti-pushing. Vengeful Spirit can swap out a primary pusher, and Earthshaker is a beast at defending against pushes. So it looks like Maelk followed up with a Windrunner and a Lycanthrope. So Lycanthrope has been, this is sort of the rise of the Lycanthrope 6.72b. This game is from a month ago. It is from the MYM CPL, which I already mentioned before. So this is sort of the rise of the Lycanthrope era, where Lycanthrope, with all the jungling buffs in 6.72 patch, people are starting to realize he's sort of a bitch to play against, and can jungle like no tomorrow, and Windrunner just a very boring stock standard pick. So Maelk then Pugna, doesn't want to be pushed against too hard. Enigma and Earthshaker can function pretty well as pushers, and he also banned the Night Stalker, which maybe, I don't know, maybe he would have wanted it in the tri-lane again with the Earthshaker and Venge, or maybe he just doesn't want to play against it. So that's probably the most likely reason. But that's probably the most likely reason that people ban these types of heroes in pub games. It's not really for strategical value. It's more like they want to have fun, so they want to ban heroes that don't ruin the game for them, and they'll have a good time. So it looks like Maelk started to side the lanes, SK, Windrunner down like in jungle A, top, Tinker mid. So it looks like they're going to pick up Tinker with their last pick. So just quickly going over the last 2 bans by Sentinel, Clockwork, Visage. Clockwork, very map, such a good map awareness hero and a very strong ganker. And he can hold his own in the solo lane or against the tri-lane. Visage, just another strong map hero who is a bitch to play against in the tri-lane. Better question is, which do you play? Says Serbia Sar. CP6 Uja is Serbia. And yes, Mr. L, Loda is on the Scourge. Loda, oh, how we've all missed you so much. Loda is probably one of the more likable characters in the European scene, although he has retired. He's known for his carry play, which he tends to maybe overfarm a bit, but I think people like him because he's a very charismatic Dota player, and Dota, having a lot of charisma makes you very popular. Like Loda, or I guess even, I don't know, I guess Yamate, who's sort of charismatic, makes him very popular. So despite having sort of retired, they're still very famous in their own scenes. So Loda will be on Scourge with Maelk. So I bet he'll probably play the Tinker in the solo mid. Blasphemy, says Sar. Alright, I don't know what the context of that was, but you can all read the chat. I wasn't really paying attention to that. I was more looking at my Gatorade, which is actually a Gatorade-sicle. I have a small fridge in my room, and the freezer and the fridge are close together. So I put it on the upper shelf near the freezer, and it actually turned into a Gatorade-sicle, which is actually sounds very delicious. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, Scourge picked up the Sand King. Strong teamfight hero, fun hero, functions similar to a puck. Alright, I'm gonna pause it once they finish picking and talk about the rest of the picks. So, Sand King, powerful teamfight hero. Fuck. Alright, anyway, Sand King, powerful teamfight hero, can make or break a teamfight. I think he's sort of like, when he gets his dagger and if he gets a proper ult, he can sort of single-handedly change the game. And they picked up the Tinker as their last pick, and Loda is indeed going to play the Tinker, so that should be pretty exciting. Loda, probably not well known for his Tinker, more well known for his Shadow Fiend and his hard carry roles, but he can definitely play Tinker pretty well. I'm sure he's played Tinker several dozen times in his career, so it should be pretty fun. I think the two most well-known Tinkers were probably Kuroki and Yamate back in the KS, or the King Surf era, in the 6.5-ish era. So, yeah. We'll see if Loda's Tinker can measure up to that success. And Maelk is playing the Lycanthrope. Maelk on Lycanthrope should be pretty fun to watch. Lycanthrope is not really that interesting to watch in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game, where he's just jungling and getting a massive amount of items. But it should be fun, nevertheless, to see what item build he goes, see if he's going to take this too seriously, because it is a pub game. But in the MYM CPL League, people play for points, and the points leader at the end does receive a cash prize. So it's not as unserious as most public games, I guess, but it is still not a professional competitive match or a scrimmage. So it should be interesting to watch. So Serbia's Czar is playing the Sand King, the Crixless. I'm just gonna unpause. Looks like they had a bit of a pause. A lot of talking going on the Scourge. They don't really know what's gonna happen or what their lanes are. Lycan's probably gonna be in jungle, Tinker's gonna be solo mid, Winner's probably gonna be bottom, and Sand King and Ancient Apparition will probably make up the last lane. So let's see. Playmate is on the Windrunner, so a bunch of famous top players in the Scourge side of the map. So Playmate is playing Windrunner, probably gonna solo, and Tinker's already headed off to mid lane. Z-Maj is Benara is playing the Ancient Apparition, and Zara is already playing the Sand King. Looks like Maelk summoned the wolves, probably to do a bit of scouting. And looks like Dendi is playing the Shadow Fiend. M5 Dread, former teammates. So Dread's playing the Chaos Knight, who is, I think, a very underrated hero. He does so much damage. I think the problem is that his mana pool early in the game and his intel growth is so low, and his spells cost a significant amount of mana. But I think being a tanky sort of melee hero who can do a lot of damage and can stun and has high mobility with his built-in 325 MS, second highest in the game next to Luna's 330 MS, can provide a lot of things. Vengeful Spirit is being played by Ars-Art, Moscow 5, so 2 Moscow 5 players and a Navi player on the same team. So S-Kreen is playing the Earthshaker. I'm not really too familiar with S-Kreen. And Say Astra Please, Astra is playing the Enigma. So I expect to see Enigma in the jungle. Expect to see I don't really know. I think Enigma actually will solo top, and because they already have a pretty good tri-lane with the Earthshaker, with the Chaos Knight, and with the Vengeful Spirit. Earthshaker will probably roam, but this triple stun lane will make, I'm sure, Playmate's life pretty tough when he ventures down there. So I'm going to unpause right now, and let's go to the game. Maelk summoned the wolves to scout, and probably to scout what the early lanes are. I mean, Shadow Fiend's obviously going mid. Chaos Knight, I don't know, maybe they're going to try lane top. I'm not too sure at the moment. Looks like he's just going to probably use his... Maybe he's going to play roaming CK. I remember that was pretty popular in... Not really in, like, competitive scene, but, like, when CK was picked, he was picked as sort of a roaming hero with his high mobility and his, oftentimes, pretty damaging stun and his high base damage, which can be a tad random, but when you get his 79 damage on maximum on a hit, it can do a lot of... He can do a lot of damage. That's the point I was trying to make there. So, yeah. Looks like fuck Alan Ditch picks, says Brown, and 777. Slavic Pro XDDD. Playmate, again, bottom with the SM1. You can all read the chat. So I don't really think I need to talk about it. So I'm going to take a little sip of Gatorade while we wait for this match to finally begin. Actually, most of the Gatorade sickle melted, so I couldn't really suck on it for a while. It was a nice long chunk of Gatorade. I'm just gonna suck on it for a nice long amount of time. Yeah. I'm sure you all would like that, wouldn't you? As my voice cracks, my sexy voice cracks, and it automatically